Well, hello everybody. Danny and Wanda back from Deep South Homestead over at Pecan Grove. And as promised, I was going to give you a 1 week update on the pots where y'all saw us filling them up with dirt and mixing in the cow manure, the rabbit manure, and all the process we go through with our containers. Now, we've learned something in the first week that will be very valuable for us in the future. We planted 3 tubs of onions here. We planted the Savannah Sweets, the red, the red onions, the red Creole, and the Texas Legend. Now the Texas Legend has always made really good onions here, but we've also bought them from Dixondale. What we noticed here is the Savannah Sweets have all came up. These from Hoss Tool, every one of them has come up. Now, there will be a link in the description down below for Hoss Tool if y'all are interested in those. Now, all these others are also from Hoss Tool, but the red Creoles and the Texas Legends, neither one of them has anything coming up in it yet. Not even an inkling of anything coming up. Now, the Savannah Sweets have all come up. So in the future, you know, for planting outside, now planting in the greenhouse, we plant in the little seed trays from Hoss Tool. It did take quite a while for them to come up in a greenhouse. We're outside, not in a greenhouse, and we have, and everybody, I need to straighten out one thing. People are talking about container gardening. They said, oh, that's not for me because it takes too much water. Well, guys, I come out here once a day, and I just miss some water over these. I probably, since we've done these pots, I probably hadn't put a gallon in each one of them, you know, extra water. So it hasn't taken a lot of water at this point. So I'm not going to go for the it takes too much water thing because the pump's sitting right here beside me. Now, we're trying to and praying and hoping that these two will eventually come up. So in the future, we're just going to go with the Savannah Sweets from Hoss Tools. What I did was I had a few extra seeds left over, and I came down here. I planted another container just in case those other two didn't come up, and I used the Hoss Tool Savannah Sweets, you know, because I had very good success. Now, I will say this, the Hoss Tool Savannah Sweets were coated. The seeds were coated. So, now, whether that made a difference or not, I don't know. But I have to look at the results, and the results is there. So, moving on down. This is Ms. Wanda's radishes that we planted here. Now, we had a little problem here. I planted the kale and the radishes, and all the dirt around the edges of the pots had been flipped in, and the pots had been all, I said, oh my word, I said, did a rat do that? But I said, rats can't climb up these slick pots on the sides. And I'll sit there and I said, well, the radishes was up beautiful. I mean, we had a complete stand in there. The kale, we had a perfect stand. And I said, well, we've lost most of them. So I said, I didn't know what to do because I didn't know what it was. And as I worked around out here, I kept my eye over here and I found the culprit. It was a brown thrasher bird. He decided that he wanted to come peck around in these tubs, and I had to eradicate him because he wouldn't leave my tubs alone. I kept trying to run him off, and he kept coming back, so I had to get rid of him. I hate to do that, but when animals will not leave something alone, you just got to do what you got to do, you know?
Hence the cage and the...
Well, now we've got these cages up here and everything, just in case. Y'all will see those red birds all in the background here and everything. I mean, so far, they haven't messed with anything. But now this is my joy right here. This is a 65-gallon landscape pot. I bought a tree from a nursery, a very big tree, and got the pot. And I planted this thing in carrots, guys. Y'all, this is the Corota carrots. I think I got a really good stand in it. Now I got a couple of weeds. You know, you can see there'll be a couple of weeds in here from the manure, I guess, that we put in here. But the carrots came up in, Ms. Wanda, 4 days or 5 days? 5? The carrots came up in 5 days. They don't hardly ever do that for me. Usually it takes about 7, days or a little bit better. And I always check it on the 6th day. Well, I was out here on the 4th day. I picked this paper stuff up here we put down, and I saw green popping up all under it. And I was like, whoa, and that was late in the evening on the 4th day. So I snatched it off that afternoon, misted it down really, really good. The 5th day I come out here and looked, and they were all just beautiful. And they are still standing up. Now the thrasher went around the corners of it here, all the way around the edges, and he kicked all the dirt in. And so we probably lost a few that away. But other than that, I really think we're going to get a good stand. Now, the deer, so far, we put these, it's Agrifab. It blows like wetting tool. We put that on there, and so far, the deer have not been back, and they have not messed with anything. So we're kind of excited about that. Now, we have a system we can put around it if we need to. And I hate to do that because I don't like to open and shut anything every time I come through it. And it's just sitting here, and it's in the right out here in the edge of my pasture by my pump and everything, and by where the cows is going to be eventually out here in front of us. I just hate to have to close something off, but it may come down to it. It just might happen. All right, we had the pure cow manure and the 30-year-old cow manure and the fresh cow manure. And guys, the butter peas are actually doing pretty good. They are starting to bloom in here now. If they'll make a pea, I don't know if they will or not, because they're a warm weather plant and it's turning off pretty cool. Of course, cold weather's not here yet. The ones that the deer ate off here, they're actually coming back pretty quick. They may catch up with the other ones here. And the thing about it is, what I don't understand about these are bush beans. And they're vining up on this thing, running all up here, I don't know what happened there. Deep South, they always made a bush. We plant the same seeds every year. They make a bush. We can bring them over here. Well, of course, over there we don't have cages now. The long stems just lay out on the ground.
But they don't make this long a stem.
They don't grow that long, I can tell you that. Maybe they're diverting back after we've saved seeds for so many years. Maybe they're diverting back to the original. Who knows? But we had some leaf cutter problems. They come in here and started cutting on the leaves here. We had to, on every one of these that you see like this, there will be a tiny worm up under every one of them, and we just come through. We don't use no chemicals. We just come through here and mash them and get rid of them. But that's a little update on the pots with the beans in them for those of you who are keeping up with it. Well, guys, here at Pecan Grove, I've been looking for, I got a hay baler, I have a sickle bar cutter, and now I was looking for a hay rake, and I actually found an older New Holland 256 in really good shape. And I went and picked it up. I brought it here. There's a few things now that we gotta find out about loading it. These are little hollow tubes on the back here. They hold grease back here. So when you grease it, this stays full of grease, and there's some threads in here like this. Well, this one got bent and got knocked off of there. So I'm gonna have to figure out where I can get me another tube to slide up over this to keep the dirt and dust off of those threads right there. It's got I checked it, greased everything. It's all working good. I'm gonna have to replace a few of the teeth, which is no big deal. But all the bearings are good in it. Everything seems to be working pretty good. Now I've got a bad seal in the gearbox right here because it didn't have any oil in it. And I put a little bit of oil. I didn't put much in it. I put a little bit in it. And I see it's running out there. So the seal has dry rotted. I'm gonna have to get a kit to rebuild that gearbox with. But other than that, you know, the tires are a little dry rotted on it. We're gonna have to get, you know, some more tires for it. They're just 15-inch tires, looks like. I think I can probably pick them up at Tractor Supply or somewhere like that. And then around front here, yeah, I had to do a little work on the jack. It was messed up, kind of froze up, so I took it out, took it all apart, greased it, got it all working out real good like it needs to. These bolts here, I got to realize that I'm gonna have to get some new bolts to go in some of this here and retighten it, you know, some carriage bolts and put in here and tighten all this back down. A little bit of maintenance there. And then I bush hogged the field out here because the grass is not that deep out here. It's only like 10 inches deep. I bush hogged it down a couple of days ago, and when I brought it in last night before the rain, I actually got out here and run around with the hay rake, and it actually raked it up pretty good from a bush hog. When all this rain's over with and everything, I actually seeded this field too. I seeded it with ryegrass and red crimson clover before I cut it while it was dry, and I let the seeds fall all down in there. So now that we've cut it and we've spread this grass out on top of the ground and everything, I think it'll help the ryegrass and the clover and all to come up. And I might even bring the baler over here, and once this dries all out real good, I might refluff it after the rain's over with, and I may just run the baler through here and just see if it'll actually pick any of it up, because it's kind of short. Now the other fields we have they're like 2 foot deep right now. They're actually perfect for baling, but we got to get past this rain so we can start testing out some of this equipment that we have. Well, our pecans are starting to fall here at Pecan Grove. We're finding a few after the squirrels have got what they want, I suppose. I thought I had most of the squirrels killed out, but I can see that there's still a few sneaking up here, or maybe some raccoons at night. But we're trying to gather up as many of them as we can, because a few is better than none. Let's put it that way. And really, I've got to go out and I'm going to have to go under all these trees and see which ones are actually dropping pecans. And that way I'll know which ones are producing, and I can keep a better eye on that. So that's my goal before this rain gets in here. Okay, we're back at our food plot, guys. I want to give y'all an update on it. We just went in and I disced it in real good. I seeded it, section haired it all off, and we're supposed to get like 1 inch of rain, so hopefully that'll kind of help get the food plot up for the wildlife, and maybe if they leave it alone long enough, they might get something to eat this winter. But I got a sneaky suspicion, as many animals as they are coming in here, they probably not going to leave it alone. We're probably going to end up having to put something around it to deter them from coming in here, till we can at least get it up high enough for them to have a little bit of nutrition. Some of you are probably going to ask, what did I plant in here? I planted red crimson clover, ladino clover, arrowleaf clover, ryegrass, soybeans, winter peas, there's 2 or 3 other things. I went ahead and planted all of it in here so that there'd be a variety of stuff for all the wildlife. Now, for those of you who don't know what a food plot is, okay, believe it or not, there's people that don't know what a food plot is. They well, why you don't like deer? Why you planting a place to bring them in? Well, this is on the back side of our property, and we plant the food plots back here to bring them in so that we can harvest them and have them for meat for the winter months and stuff like that. As long as I can keep them back here, they're not on the other end of the property up there. Now, yes, there's deer up there that come from across everywhere else and come in there. But the majority of the deer will funnel down to the food plots down here, and the turkeys and stuff like that, and we'll be able to keep them down here. Now the ones that come up to the other side of the property, we may not take anything down here, to be honest with you. We may just video down here, and I might eradicate the ones up there this winter and just leave these alone down here, because if these aren't messing with anything, we'll just leave them alone. We want to try to take out the ones that are doing the damage. Well, I also want to take and show you, this past week I've had a bulldozer here at Pecan Grove doing a lot of work for me. And on the other side of the property in the back, I had them come in here and I had them push me another food plot on the end of a ridge down in here. We're surrounded by swamp in here, and I had them push this food plot out right here so that we can, ooh, somebody's shooting squirrels this morning, so that we can bring the deer in on this side of the property and kind of harness them up here. Now, we don't have any shoot houses out or anything like that. It's mainly just to feed the wildlife through the winter months and kind of keep them drawn into the property here, back in the back here, because hunting season's fixing to open up, and there's thousands of acres in the distance and that belongs to timber company lands and stuff like that, and I think it's open for hunting. So I kind of want to be able to give the wildlife a place to come to for safety, you know, and raise and bring their little ones and stuff like that. And hopefully Ms. Wanda and I is going to be able to get y'all some more footage. Now, you just have to work with us on that because we don't have a lot of time, but we're going to try to set some cameras up and try to get some footage of them. And hopefully during the daylight hours, if we have time, we might even get some footage of them ourselves, because there's a lot of wildlife here and we want to kind of keep it that way. Now, we have been asked the question, what kind of cameras do we use? And this is one, Ms. Wanda ordered these off of Amazon. I'm not sure what actual variety they are. There's no names on it anywhere. She ordered the stand. Now, the stand has HME on it. I don't know what that stands for, but
I'll put a link in the description if I don't forget it.
Can find it. And I have searched this thing over. You would think a camera would have its name on it somewhere. I wasn't there when she ordered it, so
you hear our hen?
Yeah, old Indian hen woodpecker. But that's the camera that we're using anyway. For those of you who are interested in knowing. But we are using them because they're transportable. I can pull it up out of the ground, I can move it over yonder. I don't have to worry about sticking it on a tree. I can stick it anywhere, I can rotate it any direction. And that seems to be working out pretty good for us here at the food plots. And back here in the back, you can see this old poplar tree here. We left it because it's kind of, I told the guy on the dozer, don't push it up. I said, it's a beautiful character tree for the property here. It's like that because of Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina leaned that big old poplar over. It didn't lay it all the way on the ground. And it has broke the top out of it, but it's done sprouted and come back out at the top up there. Now, when I was a young man, I'd have ran up that tree and got right up on the end of that fork up there to hunt, but I ain't a young man no more. Got better sense now, I guess. And then we've got this one old pine right here beside us. We try to leave our character trees on the property. This old pine, that thing is humongous. I mean, I can't even reach around that tree. It's so big.
What type of pine is this?
It's just a slash, I think is what they call it. An old-fashioned slash. It grows down here in the swamps.
Somebody's hunting today.
Somebody's squirrel hunting today.
It's not the newfangled.
No, it's not the new pine trees. It's one of the old-fashioned pine trees. Now, there's a whole forest of pine trees here behind us. Now, this is the younger growth. These trees are, these trees are probably 80 feet tall. They're way up yonder, going down here in the swampy area. We've got lots of them in here. We just got a whole forest of them back in here. This long ridge that comes in here. We kind of like it. So I just wanted to take you along, show you another one of our projects that we've been doing here, Pecan Grove, and show you a little bit of an update, what we're doing over here. guys, next week, we're hopefully going to be able to show you what we're doing at Deep South Homestead if you hang around with us, and we'll give you an update over there and show you a little bit about the decisions we're making over there and what's going on over there, what we're planting, the shape the property's in from the drought, because we're actually, it's a little bit different here at Pecan Grove. Pecan Grove had a little bit more water, and Deep South has not. And Deep South is really suffering in a lot of ways, but we just want to be honest and transparent with you on a lot of that stuff and just try to take you along and show you what's actually going on. So we'll see you next week. Thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.